Hey everybody, Day Trader Rockstar here, and this is the high probability watch list for the week of, and let me get the date up here, it's going to be June 25th, going into the last week of June. What a week. Great week. We touched on everything. We did IPOs, we did penny stocks, we did the HPS stocks, we had a lot of option trading. A very busy week. Can't wait to next Monday. We're going to kick off talking about this. This is the Friday just closed here. Markets just closed. It's about 6 o'clock. You can see the market kind of sold off at the end of the day. Went to the lows of the day, not the overnight lows, but the open lows, cash open lows, which starts at 9:30, and then we see that nice 10:30 bounce, and then we just sold off at the end of the day. Was not involved too much today in the markets, other than updating a couple times on the show. I did get into a new position. I want to discuss that on the watch list, a new cheapie, and I'm going to tell you why. It comes from the same place so that we got the VERU, and VERU acting really good. We'll probably, that's everyone should be doing really well with the VERU, and expecting new news to come out, and I'll update you on that also. So let's just start off by saying the S&P closed up here 5 points. Dow was up 119 points, but the NASDAQ closed down 20. And you know what? I'm happy to say that for the first time I shorted the market, probably in like 4 months. Just taking a hedge, and we did that the day before yesterday, and I did that in the Nasdaq for the tech stocks, and I used the SQQQ because it gives a 3 times return versus the 3 times return. Versus the Qs, and the Qs are the Nasdaq, and if you're going to look at tech stocks pulling back, you want to either short those or go long the ultra pro short ETFs that track those. So as you can see, we bought right at the lows, and it moved up here nice yesterday, and it followed through today with the selling continuing. You could actually see Amazon AMZN topped out yesterday, and we had that follow through. This could be a pullback in tech. Now I did cover my shorts, and I took the profit, and I moved on. But just looking at how things closed off on the day, it looks like the tech stocks, the FANG stocks, should we say, those big stocks, Facebook, Amazon, Google. They started showing some weakness again, and they just are not. They're looking pretty weak. But I still love them. Google is still going to go higher over time and stuff, but there might be a little pause in that. But we're not really worried about that. I'm not, we have our traders in the room that are trading those options really well, and really day trading those. So if you are interested in day trading the options, we have a lot of traders that are doing that with Google and Amazon and all these FANG stocks. But you can see this little sell-off here at the end of the day drove that thing here. So the other thing we concentrated on were IPOs this week, and as I said during the show and during everything, I said I want to start doing an IPO update for each week. And the reason is, this is a good reason, is because there's huge money to be made in some of these biotech IPOs. We've been following them, and what we noticed is, and I'm going to show you examples of that right here, but what we noticed is that if you have an IPO that's consolidating, well, there's a couple situations I want to do, and I just put out a video on YouTube. So if you haven't seen that video yet, go to YouTube, Day Trader Rockstar YouTube channel. It's the last video. It's how to find IPOs to trade, and it's just a short 12-minute video, and it talks about 3 sites that actually help you determine where to get these IPOs. And then we're going to use this strategy I'll discuss kind of here, but I discuss it all the time on the show. It's just actually finding these stocks, setting up your trading screens that you can act on them. You want to be able to act on them fast. So how do you do that? Either have ready, you have your orders up, you might not even have an order ready, but you have the symbol in. So when everything turns on it and they open up, you're able to take advantage of that. You don't have to fiddle around or anything. And that's what I did this week. I dedicated a whole new monitor to these IPOs. And that worked out great. It worked out great, and I'm going to show you that right now. I mean, we actually, there's so much to talk about on this video, so I want to try to not get too, deep into it. Again, we talk about it every day live. All right, so So that's a new feature on the watch list. We're going to look at. I'm going to try to set up these IPOs for you. Like I said, I'm going to reference you to the last video I did. I might even send a link on to that one so you can follow up. There's a couple good tools. But let's start off with that right now. We had last week, or this week that just passed. I mean, this is going, depending on where you read this, the XERS was an IPO. Look at this. And again, we got in it at yesterday. I had it on my screen. So if we look back where we got into it, I picked it up at $17. I wasn't in at the low. No way. But, I got in at 17, and then you can see it ran up to $20. I held it overnight, and the next morning it kind of gapped down a little. But I sold it. So we had a nice profit. Whatever the profit was on that, I think I got close to 2 points on that, whatever, 17 to actually 1870 and change. But that doesn't make, just the fact is the opportunity is there, and this is what we have to do. We have to set ourselves up to be able to take these opportunities. That was one of them. The other one was the let me get that one up for us. The other one was APTX, and again, the same thing. Opened up. What did I get in on this? I was ready for it, and I tried to just put the order right in. So I bought 100 at 1780. So I got it right at the open. I was really prepared for this one. Got it pretty good. It ran up, consolidated. We were going to hold it. We did hold it into the day, and we actually took it off for a profit today. And again, I wanted to get out of those because I actually had computer problems this morning. So I got it up, and I just didn't even look at it. I just said, you know what, I'm going to sell. Set up this, make sure my computer's functioning properly, and then work. But these two stocks now going forward have a 2-day pattern. This one, APTX, and the XERS, both have a 2-day pattern. One of these probably will continue to push higher, and the momentum's in it. The IPO, you can see the volume and stuff. So I will focus on these next week, the non-HPS type of setup, but I will focus on if we actually see any action. Remember, the consolidation is important. A couple of these are interesting. There was another one today that we mapped out, and I came on the air and I discussed it. It was AUTL. And remember, I think the IPO price was about like $17, $18. And the one thing that you don't want to do is chase these things if they gap up too much. I'm looking for one that just opens up around that the offering price and then moves up from there. If you have a gap up, you have to deal with some selling coming in. So I passed on this one, and I announced it. I said I'm passing on this, and a good thing because it gapped up so much that it actually sold off. And but still worth putting on the watch list, because now we have our first candle, and over time new candles will form, and we'll be able to identify this. So each time we have these IPOs, we want to put them on the list, make a different watch list for them on your charting programs, and watch them. The other one I got into and I'm still holding is the MGTA, and that was another IPO. Now, I didn't get in much on this one because I figured, 2 was enough. And so this third one, I just wanted to test out. I only got in 50 shares just to do kind of a half of these IPOs you don't really know. They're biotechs. They have drug in phase 1, phase 2. So it's unless you're really in tune with the company and understanding what's going on, these things are crap shoots, and you're hoping that momentum gets in them, and you're hoping you're on the right side. But either way, because they're coming IPO and they are they're in the sector and industry that are performing very well, you have a limited downside, in my opinion, if you get in early and you have an ultimate, tremendous possibility of an upside move. So that's why I think these are good risk reward, and that's what we're going to focus on going forward. That's just a segment of the show, and I will probably end up taking this. It doesn't matter if you take 50 shares or 500 shares. These are a little bit more higher risk, but the action's going to be there, and you'll get those alerts just like any other alerts. So let's talk about those right now. All right, let's just talk about the upcoming ones. We showed you the examples, and also showed you examples of why we were getting into, why we like these. What was the Zscaler was an IPO back here, and another thing that I mentioned in that video is usually after the first quarter, if an IPO comes out, and usually if it's a tech and it's a well-known name, like Dropbox or there's so many, but if it has a name and it has a what's the word I'm thinking of? A reputation in the tech world of being a good product, the first earnings report, there's nothing to compare it to. And they usually do very well. It usually is a blowout. They want to actually bring the good numbers. You don't know what you're basing everything on, so we tend to get big pops on them. And that's what I was noticing also that got my interest back in those. So that Zscaler was one. We identified like 5 of them. I brought them home on a notepad so I could do some more research. They're on the notebook about at home, and again, those plays are already done. But that's basically what we looked like. And again, I refer you back to the video on the YouTube, the latest video, how to find IPOs. Go to Day Trader Rockstar on the YouTube video and look up that latest video, how to spot IPOs. And that gives you the one FinViz tool is really good. But again, this tool is better because every week you're going to get them set up and delivered to you. All right, so let's go to what we were talking about. Let's start off with the IPOs. Let's start off with those. All right, because I get them usually Monday for the week, but I'm looking ahead. I'm just doing a search on the internet. You can do a search on the internet, just say upcoming IPOs for the next week. And as you can see here, I just actually want to show you why we're paying attention to this. IPOs are set for the busiest week in 3 years. So this is coming out next week. And it says here dozens of U.S. IPOs expected next week in a milestone not seen since June 2015. There's a little chart here that shows you how these things are lifting up. You could draw that trend line higher. Everything has a chart to it. But boy, you know what? There's going to be some good opportunities. Good opportunities. So I'm going through this with you for the first time. Let me look at it and get back to you on it. All right, so I went to a MarketWatch has a nice IPO calendar. What MarketWatch does. So next week here we have 14 total. I just went over. I just did my research on these just real fast. BJ Wholesale Club, you know that, like a Sam's Club, like a Costco. $15 to $17. I thought they were once public. I don't know if they're bringing it back public. The jury's out on if I'm going to get involved in that. Brightview Holdings, did I check that? When you click on that, large commercial landscaping service in the U.S. Provider of commercial landscaping service in the U.S. Well, interesting. I don't know if I'm going to get into that. Domo, I read something about that. Not too good. I'm not interested. EverQuote, it's an insurance quote. That might be interesting, because, I have to deal with insurance now. Let's see, online bank providing lending and investing products. So, excuse me, I thought it was an insurance quoting thing. But it's an online bank providing lending and investing products to a bunch of customers. So probably going to pass on that. But then we start to look at a lot of cancer companies here, cancer research, cancer cures and stuff like that. That's what seems to be the hot one right now. 47 develops anti-CD47 antibodies to various cancers. And again, I am not familiar with any of these. So if you can help me out, put a comment on or send me a comment, or put a comment on wherever you could get in touch with me. And if you're familiar with any of these, as a little bit more, because I'm not familiar with a lot of these companies have these cancer drugs that are in early stage research, and they're raising money basically. So they're raising money to go on IPO to raise money, and that's it's always a lottery ticket. So 47, same thing. Good Bulk actually is a dry bulk shipping company with a fleet of 30 vessels. Now, dry ships here ran today, and I didn't even look at it. Let's take a look fast at dry ships. I don't know if that was running. Oh my God, look at that thing. Yeah, dry ships is on the move here. Now is DRYS. It actually looked pretty good there. But anyway, dry shipping seems to be kind of hot right there, so that could play out nice. And then we are going to look at good bulk. Hire car is car sharing. Car sharing, $5 to $6. I haven't, provides peer-to-peer car sharing marketplace. Never heard of it. If you heard of it, again, get in touch and let me know if it's worth even looking at. Neon Therapeutics, Neuronetics, New Frontier Corporation, that's a Chinese stock. Lovesac Company, I don't want to even go there. I looked at it, I said, what is this? This is a condom I said, I can't be. It's Lovesac. You know what it is? It's a beanbag chair company. It sells premium couches and beanbag chairs. Lovesac. I could think of a better name. Not interested. Who knows? This will be the one that probably goes to $30. It'll double. It'll probably double. Being Lovesac's. Translate Bio. Again, lots of cancers. Early stage biotech developing MRMD therapies for genetic diseases. 61 people involved on that, and Tricinda. This is the one that looks familiar to me. For some late stage biotech targeting conditions associated with chronic kidney disease. Now I like this. I like everything about it. Found in 2013. They're going to offer it 16 to 18, 10 million shares on the NASDAQ, JP Morgan underwriting, JP Morgan, Cowen also. So that's interesting. I want to, and it sounds like I know it's something like Tricinda. Isn't that a drug? Sounds very interesting. So I'm going to put that one down. And UXIN, Uxin or something. Sounds like a Chinese, and it is Chinese. Leader online used car marketplace for business and consumers in China. No, I don't get into any of the online. How many used cars IPOs can you have coming out of China? I think we just noticed one before. So that's a big list for next week. The ones I'm really interested in, well, definitely the Tricinda, TCDA. Write it down. It's going to be next week, a week of next week. And then maybe Neon Therapeutics, NTGN, 615 to 16 immune cancer drugs. I'll look into these a little bit more, but that's our update on that. I want to make sure you just get you can start looking at these yourself. And again, work as a team here at Day Trader Radio. So if you do know anything about any of these companies that help with some of our members, but TCD, I'll probably end up trading that if it doesn't gap up too much. The NTGN, another one, and we'll watch the other ones. I'll definitely keep an eye on anything that comes out. All right, so there's your IPO calendar for next week. A new segment to the HPS watch list, and let's move on. All right, let me start off with the LIXT. LIXT is a biotech, and I got a call from Deep Throat today. And for those who are not familiar, he's an associate of mine back into the night. He's a big trader, huge. I mean, you wouldn't, just trust me when I say they could move markets. I've been friends with this guy for years, and we've recently got back in touch, and he got me into VERU, 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 and just to do an update on that. Everyone should be doing good. I got you in this stuff for around $1.30 on this stock back in February. I got in it myself, holding 15,000 shares, and as you can see, we're at the highs. Expecting some more news to come out this month that to propel this thing through $3. It's $2.25. It is acting great. There's nothing wrong with this. It's actually looking absolutely fantastic. The volume actually was up a little today. I felt there was something going on today that means that maybe they were expecting some news. Maybe it's going to come out next week. I'd watch this very closely next week. We're expecting three new pieces of news. We're expecting some contract news out of Africa, Brazil, and then a phase 2 update, and on their VERU 111. I wrote some other drugs, and then they're going to apply for a couple new NDA new drug applications. They're supposed to be doing 2, and this is all supposed to be done before August. You know, they say between June and July. All right, so July is probably the key date, but you know, everything looks pretty good on this. Continue to hold. Like I said, if you're in there at low levels, if you do get a pop and this gets some good news, and you got the day traders in there, take some off on the spike. You might as well. You know, you can't trust these stocks. But you know, like I said, where I got the VERU now, I just got the call today, and it said, you know, hey, they said, Johnny, pick up 10,000 shares of LIXT and just hold it. And I said, all right, hang up, bye. So I did it. I posted it. Started off, I couldn't get the original order. They wouldn't take it, so I went down to 5,000. They were trying to raise the price, and then things started to wake up. Well, there was no volume in that stock, but I'm in it now. LIXT. Story behind this: it doesn't trade much, but comes from a spot that you know, they do a lot of research on the company and how they're going to go forward on getting funding for their phase 2. They have a phase 1 cancer drug that came out with really good results, and then they basically have no cash or money or any means to fund this. I think they needed I forget what the figure was. So, you know, 10 million maybe, 10 million, 3 to 10 million to fund the phase 2 you know, trials and stuff, and get that going, and they don't have that money. And it's a company that's owned by an old guy. I know that, and basically they have to do something. You know, the results out of the first phase was really good, so they're expecting either a partnership or to sell the company straight up. The CEO, the owner, the doctor, the main guy, he's in his 80s. And, you know, like I said, these guys are almost like the Gordon Gekko people. They analyze everything down to who runs the company, what's the shape of the company. And it's mostly about the financials and how they're gonna raise money and how they're gonna do it. So I was told to get into this. I got into it today. It's 25 cents right now. But if anything happens, they're expecting to trade over $1. So we're not, you know, I never go out there and say, oh, this thing's a $6 stock and stuff. But $1, you know, they said the valuation is it's only being valued at a certain, you know, with the shares outstanding, and they're all being held, and you know, and the test results, and you know, other things, that it's worth more than it is trading right now. It is a higher risk trade, and it might not do anything. It's not. It's as far as I have. They're just, you know, the timing. I said, well, can you give me a little bit more timing on this? You know, this is not something, but it wasn't that much. He goes, you know, Johnny, he says, come on. I said, just get in it and just hold it. You don't have to worry, but don't worry about the timing. You know, it was an interesting story. He goes, don't look at how the clock is made. Just read the time, something like that. He told me. I said, all right, that's a lesson. I get it. I have to think about that one. Don't worry. Just worry about the time. Don't worry about the time. Anyway, in that one, LIXT, we'll see what happens with it. We'll see what happens with it. So now to the next phase of things. So we did the VERU update, the LIXT. I'm actually holding a couple pot stocks for the first time ever. I've never held pot stocks, but since the you know, again, getting into some of these low price stocks, MRMD, and seeing the activity here. You know, I got into this MRMD. I'm holding that, and there's another one that I'm holding, the NEPT, which made a deal with Canopy Growth, which is the largest dispensary in Canada. In Canada, going legalized countrywide recreational marijuana. Things look interesting here. So these things got some pops. So holding some cheap ones here. These are not what we call HPS setups. These are definitely a higher risk. I went, you know, there's nothing sure about these ever. But as long as we have good company, this one again made a good deal. They had some kind of news with Canopy Growth, and Canopy Growth is really a good company. CG, what is Canopy Growth? Let me see if I could figure it out. CGC actually sold off today, but that is look at that stock. That's pretty nice, $37 double top. But that's it. Just an update on that. That's the cheap ones. Now the HPS setups.